life is a series of trials, troubles, tribulations, forcing you to grow, period.
Growth.
Yeah. No matter what I think you believe, I think that is the underlying theme here. And
Absolutely.
I think most people would have to agree, because none of us have gotten through here without having some form of something, a trial, a trouble, something that we've had to work through, dig deep, whatever.
If it ain't here yet, it's coming.
It's right. It's coming. And some of us have made it, and some of us are still struggling, and some of us, have wish they made a left when they should have made a right. And I get all of that, but like, that's your purpose for right now.
So something that happened to that's happened to me in the past, and somewhat quite recently, is that I'll get into a point, to a space mentally where you get stuck. Right? We were just talking before about growth, and so what I noticed after getting unstuck a little bit is that by being in that point of being stuck, by being in that place of, I don't know where to move from here, I don't know how to go from A to B. I sometimes you don't know where B is, and so that's the difficulty, is that, okay, I know that I'm at A, I know that I need to get to my next step, but I don't know what my next step is. That's one potential issue. But let's say you know where your next step is and you don't know what steps to take there. Or you're just that's I think endemic in our generation. In what's going on right now, is that people are I don't know what to do next. I don't know what to do with this. I don't know what to do with that. And so they just turn on Netflix and they drown themselves in TV, or they drown themselves in drugs, or they drown alcohol, or whatever mindless pursuits that they have. And what happens is they're slowly killing themselves. Yeah. And I don't mean suicide. Right. And I don't mean anything other than the fact that when you're not growing, like we were talking about before, growth, when you're not growing,
you're dying. Yeah.
You're dying.
Totally.
I mean, we're all dying, but like, when
nobody gets out alive.
You're right. In a long enough timeline, the life expectancy is 0. But if you're not growing, you're dying. And that's something that I noticed for myself, is that like when I would be stuck in some places and stuff, and so I would be struggling to find a way to pull myself out of there, I noticed that when I woke up, so to say, and I started pulling myself out of there, I noticed that like when I would look back on that little period of time where I was trying to figure out the next steps, or trying to figure out what to do, or whatever, that there was a sense of death about me, like a sense of, that's it, it's over, it's done, it's dead, and not a tendency towards suicide or anything like that. I don't want to make any thoughts. No, I get you. I think I understand what you're saying. But just, there was no growth. Right. There was nothing doing. So I had this reality happening around me where I wasn't growing, and I didn't feel like I was making any headway towards any goals, and I think a way to put it maybe is that instead of expanding and growing, I was contracting and shrinking. Yeah. And you're just kind of there. You're in limbo, right? Right. And so that's I think maybe the quote unquote death that I'm speaking of, is that I later on, looking at it in retrospect, I noticed that there was this contraction, and not like a going down from a problem, and then so you can Proverbs, 7 times the righteous man falls and yet he gets up again. And again, that's not quite the exact quote, but it wasn't a time of like, falling down from one thing and then going up the next mountain. Right. It was a matter of like, okay, I'm not sure what to do next, so I'm going to contract everything about me. But it wasn't preservation. It wasn't preserving anything. It wasn't saving anything. It was a shrinking to fit less space. Right. Instead of expanding to take up all the space that I deserve. Yeah.